Everyone is a liar. Everyone. Not just you, not just me, but every single person on this earth is a liar. Every single person on this earth is pretending. And the concept that everyone being a liar is something that I've always known. But it only really started to internalize in my brain just now. Last night I was thinking a lot. Thinking a lot. Like over 6 hours of just doing nothing but just thinking. And it's kind of crazy when you realize that every single person that is currently alive and that has ever been alive is a liar. Human beings were programmed to want to be socially accepted. It doesn't matter how introverted you are. It doesn't matter how quiet you are. Because there seems to be this misconception that there are people that, I just don't care what anybody else says. But no, there's not that many kind of person. They don't exist. They might seem to be existing like an external level, but deep down they care. People have made videos about this a long time ago. Everyone cares. Everyone cares about what somebody else thinks. Every single person. But, as I said, human beings lie. So the people that I say that they don't care and it doesn't affect them, they're also lying. Every single person tells lies through their entire life, and it's not even just lying about your job or lying about this and that. It's not even just about these huge things. It's even on a minor level. Even children lies. Someone online can tell you that he's 28 years old, but he's actually 45. The interesting thing is, you might assume, wait, why would everybody lie about that? Honestly, somebody could be lying about him being a good person when he's actually the demon inside, And again, you might be like, wait, why on earth would someone lie about that? And there's one answer. Because they can. Because they can. And you know that this is especially prevalent on the internet. People lie in person all the time, of course, but on the internet, everyone just eats up what the next person says with no question. And again, even on the most minor aspects. And I can use myself for an example. You guys have no idea if I'm actually resemblant to Pain or not. I say I'm like Pain, but you guys actually have no idea if I'm actually telling the truth. I could just be somebody else, for all you know. I could be resemblant to somebody else. And it's interesting because you pretty much just have to take it at face value. What are you gonna do? Be like, oh, Pain, you're not like Pain, you're lying. That looks stupid. That does look stupid. To accuse someone of lying, of something so simple, something so minor. But what liars do, aka all of us, that we take advantage of how stupid you look. If you actually call out the lie, like, bro, why would I lie about being 24 years old? Are you stupid? Meanwhile, I could actually be lying about that. Do you guys catch my drift with all this? Obviously, I'm not going to pull up my birth certificate and show you guys how old I am. That's pointless. Because the way I see it, I don't actually care if someone believes me or not, right? If I say I'm 24 years old and you think I'm a liar, I don't actually care enough to prove you otherwise. But at the same time, I think it's totally okay to assume that I'm lying. I saw one post on Reddit a long time ago. And this dude said, just assume that everything you read on Reddit is a lie. Especially in the age of AI, people making bots accounts, stuff like that. I wouldn't be surprised if a good chunk of people commenting aren't actually real people. I know that YouTubers, I don't know if their channels are still like this, but when I look at the comment sections on these videos, over half the comments are new. And I can't stop myself saying that they are not bots or not, because how can a video that is 20 years old start popping up of newcomers? That makes no sense. A good chunk of the comments are people that commented years ago. Most people that made videos 20 years ago started to make new replies that seem like bots, but they seem real. They seem real on the surface. If they seem to be real, it's just an illusion. And it's insane when you realize just how applicable that stages is towards so many aspects of life. I can meet a random person right now that just walks up to me right now in this area. We haven't talked. And then he tells me, yeah, man, so my name is Jason. Yeah, my name is Jason. He could be lying about that too. What if his name is actually Pain? Nagato. What else could he be lying about? I know one thing people lie about a lot. Their jobs. Their jobs. They might be unemployed, but they might also say, I'm doing freelancing. Yeah, I'm doing freelancing. No, you're not. You're not doing freelancing. But obviously, as I said, I'm not going to call them out for it. I'm not going to fact check it. Because to tell you the truth, these days, personally speaking, I don't care if you tell me that you're something that you're actually not cool. I don't really care because I'm just living this shit out solo. I don't care about what anybody else is doing. I don't care about what the next scammer is doing. I'll take whatever you say at next value. But if I found out you're lying, if I found out you're lying, I'm not saying that you're a bad person. You're a human being. Because I'm a liar too. I'm a liar. I'm a liar. And to tell you guys the truth, the brutal honest truth, you guys don't know if anything I say here is actually real. For example, my personal experience that I talk about. You guys don't actually know if I'm telling you the truth or not. You don't know. And this applies to everybody as well. Look at feminism that claims these false accusations and people believe it. The double standards, the beauty standards. Whatever personal example we give in this life, you guys actually don't know if we just made that shit up for society or if we didn't. It's crazy. And I don't even know what happened last night. I was in this existential crisis spiral and I was just thinking, what if everybody's just pretending? Human beings, as I said, they want to be socially accepted. They're biologically programmed to desire things. They are. If the entire world made fun of me and laughed at me and called me a joke, I would be depressed. No matter how isolated I may seem. Whether or not I was someone that dwelled themselves to it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because I can't be that program. I cannot. That's why we all want to be accepted. And what we do is we constantly fabricate, we constantly keep up appearances to make ourselves feel accepted by society, to make ourselves feel accepted by anyone you meet. It's crazy. And I'm gonna talk about my brother-in-law, for example. Hopefully he doesn't find this out. I do talk about my brother-in-law now, but I never had a brother in my life, but I only have my brother-in-law that married my sister. My brother-in-law, he spent years being unemployed, years. And I'd assume that it's because he has some sort of social anxiety issues. He was afraid of society. He was afraid of being judged by society. So, he literally locked himself in his room for years. Maybe he did some online work here and there, but overall, he was basically a neat hikikomori. A shut-in, whatever you call it. And whenever relatives visit him, he would make up a lie and say that, yeah, I'm just doing my PhD. I mean, he did finish his master's degree, but he never got a job with it. So he would always lie about the fact that he would always lie about how he's continuing his education, when in reality, he's actually unemployed with a master's degree. That's the truth. But whenever someone visited, even if it's just someone that's a casual acquaintance, not even someone that we're close with, he will lie. He will lie. He will tell them, yeah, I'm doing a PhD. Yes, I'm doing this and that. Yes, I'm doing this job. He even lied about his jobs on some occasions. When they ended up getting a job, he lied about what they were. Now, I'm not talking about him to throw him under the bus and just make him look bad. I'm not doing that. I'm not even talking about him as a person. I'm not saying that he's a bad person with malicious intent. No, He's a human being, and again, as human beings, they do whatever it takes to feel accepted by society because we fear being ostracized. We fear being the one at fault. And some people, they take it to the extreme. They take it to the extreme. I've seen a movie before called The Hunt a long time ago. In the movie, there was this older man who got kissed by this little girl who had a crush on him. To sum it up, she kissed him, and because he didn't want to exchange his feelings for her, what did she do? She started to false allegate him, and everybody believed in this little child, and he could not escape their lies anymore. And eventually, somebody at the end of the movie shot him, and everybody rejected him, even when he was telling the truth. But obviously, because people thought he was lying, there was no truth. So, he felt cornered. He felt, damn, I don't even know what to do anymore. And somebody shot him. He did the unthinkable. I'm not gonna say what it is because, well, I already said the K word, but some people, again, they take it to the extreme. And it's extremely sad. It's extremely sad. It makes me start to wonder, what if we lived in a world where we don't have to lie? What if we lived in a world where we could just be ourselves and read each other's mind, and people can figure out when someone is lying? What if we lived in a world where you can just casually say to your family members, I'm unemployed, without any sort of judgment? And the interesting thing is, every single one of us are liars, but at the same time, every single one of us would judge someone else for not doing this and that, and for lying. Let me give you this scenario. Let's say your family and your relative come to your house and say, what do you do for work? What do you do for work? I haven't seen you in so many years. And then you lie to them about a job that you don't have. And then they're like, oh, okay. But what if they're the one that actually lying about there? Something they claim to have, right? What if they're lying as well? That's the thing. So basically, you have two liars talking to each other. Two liars. And it's crazy because when you're the one lying, it makes you feel bad. You feel like a fraud. You feel guilty. But really, the person you're lying to is also a liar. So why would you feel guilty? Why would you? I'm gonna be honest. I have lied about some stuff to other people. I have. Stuff that is severely terrible. But the way I see it, I don't feel guilty anymore when I do that. Do you want to know why? Because this is the games that human beings play. Human beings lie. I zoomed out to the point where I see the theatrics of it. Enough to the point where I don't have to take this personally. I'll just lie whenever I need to lie, just to reduce friction, you know? Just because that's what the organism does. That's what human beings are built to do. That's what human beings were evolved to do. So I don't even feel bad for lying. I don't care how big it is. I don't care how small it is. I'm a liar. I'm a fraud. Yo, I'm just being honest. I'm a liar. And you're a liar as well. Do you want to know what the funniest part about this? The funniest part about all this is the fact that lying is seen as some sort of taboo. If you get exposed for lying, you will be mocked, criticized, and shamed. So, we have this very odd situation going on where human beings, false allegate one another. Every single person is a liar. But at the same time, being a liar is taboo? That's a very odd contradiction. What if we all just broke the fourth wall? What if we all just could read into each other's mind and see that we're all lying? You know what I mean? Like, what if some random stranger comes up to me, we have a conversation, he lies about some minor stuff, and I'm just like, oh yeah, he's lying. But it's okay, because that's what the organism does, and none of us has to be human. No one has to play this game. Nobody has to play this game. No one asked to be a human being. No one asked to exist. And now that we exist, we have to play these games. But why can't we be very transparent about these games? Why can't we just admit that they're games? Why can't we just all break the fourth wall and see that we're all just actors playing roles, playing a script. Why can't we do that? It's absurd, isn't it? Absolutely absurd. But I know that some of us definitely have broken the fourth wall. And I say most of those people, you guys who are watching me, the people watching this, a good chunk of you guys have broken the fourth wall. Imagine if like all of the characters in a TV show are like, oh, we're in a TV show. Okay, so I'm gonna play this line and you're gonna say this. You know, I say that, but the thing is, that's exactly what we're doing. We're all in a TV. We're all acting. We're all in a movie. This world is anime. It's just laughable when you really sit down and think about this. Everyone's pretending. Everyone's a fake. Everyone's a liar. It's like, wow. I'm baffled right now. I'm baffled. And again, as I was saying in the beginning, you never know what someone says is actually a liar. You never know that. So guys, actually, I have an announcement to make. Today, I decided to stop being like pain because actually, this life is beautiful. And the reason why is because I'm going to be like any traditional man that wear these plank, clothes, and I'm going to lose my masculinity, and I will protect and provide. Today, I am drilled to provide that I'm going to become a real man in this world and lose my identity of my own. I already did the process. I already did the haircut. I already removed all of the edgy clothes. I got a job, and one condition of the job was to demasculate myself. So I will be doing that after this video. I'm sorry to say this, to all my fans, if I had any. To all the people that enjoyed these videos, I'm sorry. But this is the last video ever. Thank you for, going on this ride. But it stops. And everything I just said was a lie. Every single thing I just said there was a lie. Wait, but what if I'm lying about the fact that it's a lie? You don't know that. What if I actually do demasculating myself after saying all that? What if? See, you don't even know if that's coming. You don't even know. Because first you think, oh, he's just joking. He's just being sarcastic. He's just lying. And for the point of this video, but you don't know. I could actually just be demasculating myself and bow to the system. But I feel like I kind of talked about this point. I wanted to talk about another thing. One thing I want to talk about is the fact that I'm living in two different realities. I am. The awareness is not the same thing as the body. It's not. It's too complex. And not to say that the body is not complex. Obviously, the human body, probably one of the most complex things that exists. Millions and billions of cells and processes going on. But it's weird because the human body is complex, but it's simplistic at the same time. You eat food, you shit it out later. Okay. Obviously, the complexity is hidden behind the body, hidden inside the body. But the way that it keeps functioning is relatively simplistic. You eat, you shit. You drink, you pee. You sleep, you feel rested. It's very simplistic, but complex at the same time. Very strange. But the awareness that dwells within the mind, dwells within the brain, is complexity on a whole different level. It's just not comparable. They're just way too dissimilar. And it's come to the point where the me that dwells within this body is not the me that dwells within the awareness. And I had this feeling, especially not too long ago. when I walked and did a stroll and did the work on Friday, I went to work as always, but something was different that day. Something felt very different. I felt like I was watching my body go to work and watching my body go through the routine. I was not the one going through that routine. That was my body. It wasn't me. The me is the awareness. That's the me. The me is the observer. And that's the reality I'm talking about. There's the biological reality, and then there's the observer reality. The biological reality is extremely simplistic compared to the observer reality to the point where it doesn't even feel like me. Now, should I even say biological reality? Physical reality as a whole. Basically, anything that goes on outside of my awareness. Small talk, talking to coworkers, taking public transportations, eating food. That's not me. This feeling that day when I was going to work, it intensified so much. The cold, it didn't even feel cold. It's pretty damn cold. It was windy, it was blowing in my face, but I was completely unaffected. Completely. And it sounds kind of weird, I know, but on one hand, my hands were frozen because it was super windy. On the other hand, it didn't really register in my mind. My awareness was like, that's just a body. It's not me. It's just a body. And when I eat food, it didn't feel like I was eating food. It felt like the body was going through its routines. With all of that being said, it's really strange to me how the external world only perceives me through something that doesn't even feel like me. Now, I had a troll comment from somebody at a store that I went in because it was raining, and he said something about basically he made like a racist stereotype because in that moment, because he saw my ethnicity is like Spain, Hispanic, right? And he made some racist stereotype about amigo, I'm talking to you, and if you're aware about basically, should I even bother to explain what the context is? Basically, he says, something racist. I don't even want to explain it, actually, scratch that. He says something racist because because he saw that I'm a certain ethnicity. And I ignored the guy. Obviously, I just stood there until the rain stopped, but that comment, instead of making me frustrated or angry, it actually helped me think a lot. Because as I was saying earlier, this biological organism does not feel like me. The observer and a biological organism feel like two different things. But the world perceives you to a biological organism exclusively. It does. And it's insane when you realize what I realized, just how far apart the perception is, the external perception from the reality. Yes, the ethnicity I spawned into just happens to be Hispanic. It's not like I asked for it. I didn't choose it. It's not even really real. Again, it's just my body. It's just my body. But that's the category you get placed into. That's how it works. And apparently, because you have this certain ethnicity that you just randomly spot into, you are now going to be made fun of, and someone's going to make some racist joke about your language barrier on someone that has nothing to do with it, because that's what human beings do. They categorize you in that way. But as I said, the perception is so far off from who I really am. I'm not even kidding when I say this, but there has been times where I don't even remember. Not that I don't remember, but I forget what I am. I'm so focused on my awareness. I'm so focused on my internal world that these external labels, like ethnicity and race, they just don't even register. They just don't. I guess that's just me because I'm just an internally focused dude compared to other people, but I don't know, man. The last time I really actually thought about the fact that I'm Spain or I am Bernard or a certain ethnicity, like the last time I actually seriously thought about it was, well, obviously before all of this happened, but before that, I don't even remember the last time. I don't even remember. I don't even speak the language often either. I have pretty much nothing to do with this ethnicity beyond just being born into it. But apparently, I'm part of some language barrier going on. Because other people in this ethnicity that have no correlation, that have nothing to do with my internal world, are doing that. Again, I mean, you can't even take it personally. I mean, I spawned into a random realm that was already constructed way before I existed, and I just happened to be who I am. And other people will perceive you a certain way because of something you just spawned into. And when you see through the theatrics of it, when you see through it, you can't even take it personally anymore. You just can't. All you can just say is, this is how it is in this world. Okay. That's all you can say. That's it. I'm not gonna go and be like, well, you're racist, well. No, that's not how I'm gonna do it. This is what it means to be a participant in this realm. This is what it means to live through a brief experience called human life. There are absurdities that won't be changed. There are absurdities that will last throughout this entire duration of human life. The only time where the absurdity gets eliminated is when all human life gets eliminated. That's it. So, again, that's the observer me talking. That is. So, it's not even like I can take what people say personally, to be honest. And everything I'm saying in this video is the observer me, trying to translate it into human words, human language, you know? Obviously, there's things that just can't be translated, but I'm trying to the best of my abilities. But the complexity of this observer me, it's very interesting because when you compare it to the body, again, as I was talking about, the body is very complex, but it's very primitive. There are times where the biological organism, the biological me, will see an attractive female or a handsome man, and the chemical reaction started to happen, even though I know nothing about that person. This is what we're evolved to do. Or if they did something wrong, we see a female, we get attracted. But doesn't that just seem very simplistic? Doesn't that seem very primitive? When you take a look at the complexity of your observer self, doesn't this all just seem like a joke? Like it's someone else? Like, what do you mean the me that can contemplate existence, that can see through the absurdity, is the same me that, is sitting there at 2 a.m. doing a certain act at night that I don't even want to say? But, if you catch my drift, what do you mean? I just can't accept this. I can't accept it. I can't. But at the same time, I can't separate the biological organism from the true self. I just can't matter. I can't accept it. How is that even a thing? What even is separating the two? What even is that? I don't even know. But I feel like you kind of get my point in this video. To be honest, this is a big ramble, ain't it? But remember this, I'm pain.